Welcome to QI for a show that's all about insects and other invertebrates. Let me introduce our completely spineless panel. Busy as a bee, Jimmy Carr. Snug as a bug, Sarah Millican. Knee-high to a grasshopper, Johnny Vegas. And banging his head fruitlessly against a window, Alan Davis. So, before we begin, we should hear your buzzes. Jimmy goes. Oh, it's annoying. Sarah goes. Johnny goes. And Alan goes. Now, don't forget, there are some questions to which nobody knows the answer.
Nobody knows.
That's right, and if you play your nobody knows joker to a question to which nobody knows the answer, you get extra points. If you use it the wrong time, you're going to look like a bit of a tit. So, question one. Right.
What's the point?
Oh. What do bees do better than dogs? Yes, Jimmy.
Make honey?
That's probably true, I have to say.
Probably true.
Yeah.
You're giving me probably on making honey. OK, fine. That's the way you want to play it.
I'll give you that one. But
thank you very much. I'm currently in the lead.
Yeah.
They're better at sneaking up on you than dogs are. Like, you would never know if a bee had sniffed your crotch, would you?
Well, you might not. There'd be a buzzing noise, but oddly enough, you've used a word in there.
Is it crotch?
No.
Sniffing.
Sniffing. Sniffing. We use dogs to sniff in customs and for security,
Sniffer bees.
for explosives and for drugs. And do you know what? It takes a dog about 3 months at least to be trained to be a sniffer dog. It takes a bee 10 minutes. All you have to do is put it in a box, all right, add the smell and some sugar simultaneously, do that a few times, and it will instantly associate that smell with sugar and a reward. And then next time it comes across that smell, its proboscis will come out, and if you set it all up right, it will cause an alarm.
So why aren't we in airports killing bees then?
It's beginning to happen.
Unless drug dealers had an allergy to stings, I can't see them being pinned up against the wall by a policeman. with a bee on a bit of, you know, like kite twine.
There's a company called Sentinel which has developed this, and it is beginning to be used by the military and by airports and by various others. And you pop a bee in a little box and you train it.
That's not a little box, that's like the worst rucksack ever invented.
What if they like savoury stuff? You know, what if they just haven't got much of a sweet tooth?
The great thing about bees is they only like sugar. But I admit, there may be a rogue bee that likes meat or salami, and that would be useless.
Pasties.
Pasties, for
Then he wouldn't be able to do that as a job.
Cornish bee, yeah. You shove a few in a box, and then you waft them near the thing that you want to check. There it is.
Well, it's not a bad idea, because that was always the old joke about the best way to smuggle drugs would be, obviously, in a dog's bum. Because when the sniffer dogs come through... as soon as the dog goes... You just go, come here, you naughty little thing. Whereas with bees, how much could you get in a bee's bum? Very little.
Very little.
My dad once punched a bee.
Punched the bee?
Yeah, it sort of went for him, and it was huge, so he just punched it. So, you know, we said it was like a velvet tennis ball.
It's a rather beautiful phrase. Velvet tennis balls of the sky.
I like that he was thinking of such poetic things while he was punching a bee.
And bees are valuable, and as we know, they're in trouble. There seems to be this
That
thing
one
called...
was.
I'm going to offer you a reward. I've got a plate here of insect-related foods, Sarah, and you can choose your reward. This is a lolly, which has got ants in it. This is a scorpion brittle, like a peanut brittle, and it's got a scorpion in it, and if you can see it. Or just some dried bugs here. Is that one of those?
And where's the treat part?
Chocolate ant. Would you like a chocolate ant?
I'll suck it.
Would you?
No.
Not at all? Are you going to risk any one of these?
I'll have a look at them.
If I had a chocolate ant, would you have one?
I'll let you go first. Yeah, I'm not really bothered, to be honest with you.
You made me eat it. Well, I want more Braverham, because these are a treat.
I don't even eat brown bread. How do you give things like that to us?
Yeah. You think of brown bread as being some sort of strange life form that's a bit...
Yeah, it's unnecessary.
If that's a new range you picked a mix, no wonder Woolies went under.
Well, do you know, the thing is, it may well be the world is going to turn towards this kind of food, because 2.5 billion of the world's population already regularly eat insects.
Is that just by mistake when you're on a bike?
These are treats, and it may well be that it will solve the problem. By the year 2030, they reckon there will be such a shortage of protein on the planet that there will be a genuine problem of starvation. There's already a problem of starvation on the planet, as we know, but that it will multiply enormously as the population increases. And insects and other invertebrates may be the answer.
Spiders, genius, isn't it? Because they're like chicken legs, but they've got loads of them.
Yeah. But what do you think are the advantages of eating and breeding insects for food?
You get to pretend to be a giant. A giant of commerce. And you can train them all to come and exercise in the morning in front of you and get them to build tiny cars.
Well, there is that.
And I say, call me Johnny Nissan.
That
in the wild, when they lay eggs, they lay billions of eggs.
That's
don't
right.
They? But
The
only
breeding
a few of them
cycle.
survive. But if you've got them in, you can have all billion of them.
Yeah, exactly. And they need far less feed than cattle. They produce far less noxious gas than cattle.
Yeah, how would you contain insect equivalent of foot and mouth?
That would be a problem.
Have you been there to fly? Yes. Leave the airport.
If you're trying to sort of get this as an idea, you know,
Yeah.
this could solve starvation, could you maybe pick a picture of a guy that looks less nuts? If you're trying to market it, because if he's meant to be Captain Birdseye of the insect world, he couldn't look any creepier.
He looks as if he's auditioning to play the Master in the original Doctor Who, doesn't he?
Even the frame of the picture looks like you're about to black out. They're good for you. Oh, my vocal cords are swelling up.
But there is no reason not to.
I expect you to die, Mr. Bond. Sorry.
Shrimp is essentially, it's the same thing, isn't it? It's just in the sea.
We eat shrimp.
on land.
Exactly.
You'd go, well,
No,
they are delicious.
We eat shrimp if there's a special on at Iceland.
You okay? Take a moment.
How's that
Oh, no, they're delicious. They can solve the problems of starvation by killing us all.
I have got a problem in my throat, I will give you.
Look at that man looming over you going, at last! I got you, Fry.
Maybe that was a
There's one
mistake.
brave ant. What we're going to do, we're going to cover you in chocolate. We're going to put you in front of Stephen Fry. You're going to go down there, you're going to sort things out.
Once you're inside, release it.
Well,
I've eaten those, they've got a terrible bitter aftertaste, the smoked insects, the little ants. I had them at Bug World in Liverpool.
Well, you're supposed to eat them, because isn't that...
No,
like
you
a zoo?
can eat them at the end.
Yeah, exactly. It's a shut now, because you ate everything.
Well, that giant snail was a mistake. They're not like a burger. You're offered a bit at the end, but then you're not meant to go on to Friends and go back and break all the other...
Is it a different hat on every time?
Yeah, like a zoo where there's a buffet on the way out. Panda burger, anyone?
You've got a natural history museum just lifting the cases.
I've also got acid reflux, I have to say. One little ant. I hear, am I supposed to be advertising it as the future of humanity? And I have to say...
We've got some way
I
to
feel
go.
like shit at the moment. It has not gone down well.
The meat marketing board are watching this and go, die! Die!
Talking of bees and dogs, though,
I'd be told
do you
you.
know the premier site on the internet for dogs that are dressed as bees? Do you know? It's
The best one. Which
Yeah,
is
the
my
best
favourite
one.
or the most
Yeah.
popular
the
one?
most... It's beedogs.com.
Can you imagine a bee flying back and going, I found the queen! I found the mother of all queens!
I've got a little extra question for you. I was going to offer you a reward of a chocolate ant, but I just suspect there'll be no takers. I think I've got a little leg stuck between my teeth. There's 6 to get
Hundreds of
stuck.
ants coming across the studio floor.
How can you tell if your dog has a guilty conscience? Is there a particular... Oh, look at that boxer.
Your slippers are full.
Your slippers are full.
Trying to put it in a nice way.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you're saying.
I think they go in the opposite direction. What a dog does with a guilty conscience is make a massive fuss of you.
Ah, that's a very
More than
interesting-
usual.
So to try and make you love it and to make up...
I
Yeah.
thought that was husbands.
When you say a guilty conscience, do they have a I mean, do
Well,
they
that's
feel...
the point. The answer should have been nobody knows. That people who own dogs think they can recognise a guilty look in their dog. But in fact, they've done a number of tests in which they have told their owner their dog's done this particular thing, and the owner has said, oh, yes, that's its guilty look. I recognise that. And in fact, it hasn't done anything wrong at all. It's all in the mind of the owner. I've still got a little scaly something in the back of my throat.
Oh, it's like...
Have a bit of scorpion brittle.
Oh.
Take it away.
I was so looking forward to being brave and butch and taking this insect. Revolting.
So dogs don't have any
There it
sort
is.
of moral...
Oh, a little wing casing or something. Very unpleasant.
Plus, dogs can identify guilt in people.
Yes, can they? They probably can, can't they?
Yeah, they can. If you
Certainly
come
at
in-
airports, but bees are better at it.
Yes. That's very good. Now, why aren't there any vegan Venus flytraps? Yeah, Sarah.
Maybe there are, but people don't invite them round for dinner because it's too complicated.
That's a very good answer. Would you like a reward?
No, thank you.
Vegan.
Yes. I mean, or vegetarian. No, I'm not right. Yeah. Suppose a leaf fell in. Why don't they eat the leaf?
Because hasn't it got to... Well, I had one of these when I was a kid. Hasn't it got to hit 2 of them within a certain time frame
Absolutely
for it
right.
to go?
They have a sort of time system on these tiny hairs. You can see it here.
So you hit...
Poor little thing. And then it just does another movement and bang. And it is really...
You know what the coolest thing about them is? When that closes,
Yeah.
that bit there is the stomach.
Yeah.
It just closes really tight, and then that becomes the stomach.
And all the digestive juices exactly absorb the poor little animal.
As a design fault, then, if you were one of those plants and you were starving, but you technically had a mouthful of lettuce,
Yes.
it would never know.
No.
It would starve to death
It
rather
would.
than eat a salad.
Exactly. Because the salad wouldn't move in the right way.
You have so much in common with these.
If you fell asleep next to one of them for long enough, and it closed on your finger, would it be able to digest part of your finger?
I'm going to send you one, and you will do the experiment for us, and let us know. You could try a knob as well, it'd be funnier. Why not? In the pause of silence. It would be a penis fly trap. Well, we'll see.
Considering it.
There are other exciting ways of catching insects. You know the South American bolus, like a sling that you swing round like this? There's a spider that does the same thing to catch insects, which is there, look at that. It's very clever. It swings this kind of...
That's not real, it's just a drawing.
I admit we don't actually have photo evidence.
I'll tell you why you don't have photo evidence, because you made up. There's not even a good picture of a spider. That isn't even a good spider. That is like there's a heart-shaped thing. You started off doing a heart. It's probably a love letter, and then you went, I'll tell you what, I'm going to put some legs on it.
I'm very sorry, but do look it up somewhere on the net. I'm sure you'll find a photograph of the bolus spider.
And he's doing this.
He makes a sort of lasso.
He lassoes in the insect, and then he does...
And he goes, yeehaw! He stuns it. That's right. It does seem crazy, but nature is crazy.
And then he drinks in a saloon.
Yes. What's the best way to charm a worm? As a worm? Charm. How would you charm a worm?
Tap, yeah, you tap, don't you? Because when it rains, they come up. So birds do that, where they jump up and down and they make a noise like rain, and then they come up. Is it
Yes, actually, what they think is that there's a mole nearby, and the earthworm's way of escaping from mole is to come to the surface, because obviously the moles don't come up. So there are...
Are they not friends? I imagine they would be friends.
No, moly and wormy are not friends.
Well, I'm going to stop
Moly,
you there.
eaty wormy.
I'm going to stop you there, because in my mind, they're quite good friends. And then on the ground, they have a terrific old time.
Hello.
Could you charm a worm with a tiny flute?
Well, it's good you should say this, because worm charming is a big, I won't say industry exactly, but it's a big pastime both in America and in this country. There's the commercial side of it, because... there we are.
Oh, for God's sake.
I know. I know you've got your get-a-life look on.
No, really?
And I do know what you mean, but...
I really have.
There's nothing that discernible, is there? You don't only go, hi, you've got lovely...
What, I mean, charming them in that
eyes.
sense. They've got a little saddle in the middle. That can be attractive.
Yeah, but that's that myth, isn't it? That's where they've been cut in half.
Oh, we see them
And they
regrown,
could-
yes,
yeah.
yes.
Something
You can
happened
chop
between...
them, you can chop them in half. You can do it with any animal.
Yeah, but they don't join back. they don't join back.
No, they can't. It's a myth that they can't. But in America, they call it grunting, this worm charming, and it's reasonably big business because Americans love to fish, and obviously bake shops need worms as well as maggots. So,
That girl in the foreground is tapping the ground with her flip-flop.
she is.
She's got flip-flops on. She's taken extra flip-flops.
I've only done it to annoy you.
It just looks like a car boot sale where everyone's forgot the cars.
It does rather, doesn't it? What it is in Britain, the sport, if I can call it that, involves dozens of competitors. Oh, my God.
She's got a worm on her t-shirt.
She's got a worm on her shirt.
Oh, bless her.
I don't know if that's a worm. I don't think we should look at that.
Oh, dear. You have to lure as many
dog,
worms
right.
as you can in 30 minutes.
With a recorder.
Well, with anything you choose. You can just tap the...
And why the time constraint? Is that because it's just you're out on day release?
Well, possibly the low point was in Woodhall. The Woodhall Worm Charming Festival in Lincolnshire, none of the entrants in August 2010 managed to lure a single worm.
This is the
Not
worm
one.
charming
Were they-
festival, isn't it?
Those people inside at the time? Were they in a building? Is that right?
Yeah, it was raining. We had to do it in the church hall.
Explain it.
We're getting nothing.
Nothing. Not one. This festival's rubbish.
How did they decide the winner if nobody actually loaded any
Well,
worms?
a spokesman said they were all winners because they raised more than £200 for the Woodhall Spa Twinning Association. I don't know who Woodhall is twinned with.
I don't think it's twinned with anyone. I
Some
think it has a
Russian
suicide
psychiatric
pact.
unit.
Why has she got a string on her fork? What's going on
So
with
she
these
knows
things?
that that's her fault, like when you're at the airport. With your face going round, you put a ribbon on, don't you?
At least when you go train spotting, there are trains.
That's the best thing. The train spotters are stood on the hill going, losers! Get alive!
Oh, dear. It's true.
Digging Cynthia, they're only jealous.
Well, the fact is, yes, you can vibrate worms to the surface by pretending to be a mole. Now, when would you go out with a bucket full of ladybirds?
What about if you had a bit of spare time and your hobby was collecting ladybirds?
Yes.
Does that work?
It might, but why do we like ladybirds?
When they kill...
Green flies.
Greenfly, yeah, they're very good pest control animals. And
Are
you
you
can...
sure they're not pests? I think they might be.
Well, they're a pest if you're an aphid, obviously. But as far as we're
I
concerned...
thought you said if you were an atheist.
That's a fantastic idea.
I think ladybirds proving the existence of God again. Must be a God because they're so adorable.
Well, they're sold on the internet to gardeners, and the idea is that they help you with your aphid control problem. But
Sorry, they're all alive in a bucket. You can just get them.
yeah, you can. There's all
Wow.
kinds of insects you can buy. I remember buying for a conservatory. You can buy a gall wasps. I think they were. There was some sort of pest I had in a conservatory.
Did they just ring the bell? And 2 wasps turned up? We're here about the aphids. Where do you want us?
But the ladybirds are very helpful, obviously. But the problem with them is, if you order them on the internet, you get a bucketful. If you release them, they'll simply fly away. So there's a secret to it. You release them at night, because they don't fly at night. So you release them into your garden at night, and they'll go to work and do what they can. Then during the day, they may fly away, but they may by then have eaten quite a lot of your aphids.
Why don't they fly at night? Do we know?
Because they prefer not to.
I'll see where they're going.
We don't have an answer to that.
My mum used to be like that driving.
Why not just go to them individually and sort of break a bit of wing? And then keep them in your garden.
Well, you do want them to fly a bit.
Oh, that's like...
Well, that's why I said break a bit. I didn't say smash both.
That's like the insect equivalent.
Breaking a bit so they can have a bit of aspirational flight, but they can't escape.
Cool.
Well, I haven't paid for them
Wilkes.
online. It's not like I go up picking on random ladybirds, is it?
It's slavery is what it is.
No. What it is, it's about getting your money's worth.
A bucket full of ladybirds.
Yeah.
Now, how did the thing with the amazing eyes escape from the tank? Look at that.
Pardon?
It's known as a mantis shrimp, although it isn't a true shrimp, but it's a crustacean.
Doesn't sound like it's anything.
It does look amazing, doesn't it?
I don't know what we're looking at. Are those the eyes on
The
the...
top bits of the eyes, which in themselves are extraordinary because they're divided into 3, so they have 3 types of vision in each eye. There, look at it, there.
Like bifocals.
Yes, they are. They've got 2 of these eyes, but even more than that, they have power. They have power that is almost
jump.
beyond belief.
They can cut through glass.
Hang on,
Well-
this is sounding like Saturday morning kids' TV. They have power beyond belief.
They do. It's extraordinary.
Is it the power of prayer, Stephen? Do they pray... Do they pray to get out of the tank to the little baby Jesus?
They're
and
mantis
suddenly-
shrimps, but they're not praying mantis shrimps. No.
Do they-
Nice, though. Come on.
They can accelerate. They can accelerate through the water at 10,000 times the force of gravity, which causes the water in front of them to boil. That is, I know it sounds mad, but that's how extraordinary they are.
That seems like a disadvantage, because then suddenly, when you stop, you're in boiling water. I seem to have cooked myself. So they will cook themselves?
Well, they have this amazing power. They've been known to break out of aquarium glass with one strike of their claw. They can actually break the glass. That's how they get out of their aquariums.
Have we got footage of this?
I can show you one punching its prey.
Punching a man.
It'd better have a kapow.
That's it on the left there. And this is obviously massively slowed down. And there's it. Bang.
Ooh.
And that was a really... There you go. Whoa.
Okay.
That is just insect domestic violence.
They're very powerful creatures. They have these 3 sections of each eye. They can see ultraviolet, infrared, polarised, and they're the only creature on Earth that can see circularly polarised light.
Does that mean they can watch Avatar without the glasses?
Yes. Exactly what it means, basically. They're very, very remarkable creatures.
Where do these fellas live?
Vietnam. That's where you'll find them. Would you like to see a shrimp on a running machine?
More than you know.
All right, then. Take a look at this.
Is it the Iceland Research Facility? How good's that?
That's pretty good, isn't it?
They've not put it with a stop button.
No, I know. It doesn't have control. And do you know, they can go 3 hours before they get exhausted.
What's he got on the iPod?
Yeah, what are they
He does
listening
look
to?
much slimmer than he did at the beginning of the footage.
There are various excuses that scientists have given for why
doing
they...
that to them. Was it mainly boredom?
See, and I was kicked out of there for just breaking one wing on the ladybird, and look what they were.
What was they doing?
Are they doing any sort of research into Mary Rose sauce? Because really, you need the two together.
Well,
In a wine glass.
It's like shrimp horse jumping. Whenever the white light comes around, it jumps it.
oh, does it? Oh, yes. There you are.
Oh, and he's jumping up here now on the third turn. And he's looking strong. He's not looking back. He's lost his jockey, but he's still
Well,
in
the man responsible is Professor David Sholnick at Pacific University in Oregon.
He gives
and
his name
said,
out.
Yes, he said these studies will give us a better idea of how marine animals can perform in their native habitat when faced with increasing pathogens and immunological challenges. How? I have no idea. We have to take his word for it.
I'm waiting to see a crab with some dumbbells.
It is strange, though, when you look at that, because we were talking about it earlier, that, you know, it is an insect, but we quite happily eat that.
Yes.
Pick the legs off it, take the head off, and...
I know,
delicious.
and lobsters and things. As you say, we'll happily eat them as a treat. But these, oh God, it's not done me any favours. And I felt so confident I was going to have the scorpion as well. Not now.
I love the scorpion.
Would you love the scorpion?
I love the scorpion.
Oh, my dear fellow, there you are.
Well, those fellas are
So you
really...
mean you're going to take
Well,
it
I've had
home?
those. The aftertaste of them is just horrendous. It is there for hours, but I'll have that.
Yep. You're going to eat it now in front of us?
Well, I'll put it all in my mouth. It might.
Yeah.
I'll break it in half. And
Yeah,
have
that's a good idea.
Make it manageable.
Yeah.
Half the poison, half the fun.
How'd you do it?
God.
You're telling me something, innit?
Wow, that is one tough...
I think the scorpion might be alive. I think it might be like Han Solo.
Hey!
Well, not anymore, it's not.
Right, tail end or front?
Well, I would go for the front. The tail end might have a sting in it or something.
Always ask a lady.
Yeah. Hey! Oh. James. Oh.
Well, you could hardly break the thing, so...
Come back in 9 hours.
Oh, you're having one too. Good for you. Excellent.
Well, I've been licking the brittle. I thought I was going to be here all night until I get... I was eating it like a club biscuit.
So
You stole the chocolate off.
is it quite sweet in there? Is it sugar? It's basically sugar, isn't it?
It's horrible, the brittle.
Can't feel my toes.
It's like hemlock. It just works all the way up.
It's like bonfire night with death.
Go on, Sarah. You know you
You've
want to.
got to be joking.
Have a lick anyway.
Is this where you had the chocolate and...
Sarah,
chocolate
just
out.
think, what if we all develop superpowers as a result of this? How could you eat that? He has the power.
You saw what it did to me.
He has the power of nausea.
That is absolutely just repellent.
It is,
As soon as you break the chocolate, it whiffs.
I know, it's not nice.
Hang on. Something's happening. Something's happening.
Oh, my God. Something...
Come on, a scorpion! Oh, God, I can lick it.
I don't know.
A scorpion's known for forward rolls.
Definitely.
Oh, yes, Sarah, you're showing your ignorance there. Very famous for their forward roll.
I've tried a scorpion, I've tried an ant.
Well done.
And that's it.
All right.
That's like the start of a really bad musical.
Tried a
Tried the scorpion.
Try it back. No.
Carl, what have you eaten?
I haven't tried anything. I mean,
Now I'm an insect sycophant.
have you had anything, Sarah? Have you had...
No.
No, Sarah.
You should try an ant, really.
I think you should have an ant.
You should try an
No,
ant.
well, you're not my mum, so... Well, you might all end up with superpowers, but, you know, you'll need somebody to save.
Oh, that's true.
No,
So-
we need somebody to push us round. We need some home help once we get our superpowers. We'll all be
Everyone
delirious.
It'll be champion.
Oh, goodness. All right.
Remember, never put anything in your mouth that hasn't been boiled. I thought that was an old mother's thing.
My mum said you don't have to put anything in your mouth you don't want to.
Well...
That was
Oh,
my
could get a man
sex
with a
chat.
scorpion lolly.
That was your sex chat.
Yeah.
Didn't mention your vagina then. Just
Squeamish.
I don't know what came over me.
Sarah, I'm suggesting...
My first time on the show.
I know.
You just said yes, it's my fault.
Scorpion up me nunny.
Sarah, if you would just entertain the thought, because if you did, I'm not saying now, I'm not saying now, but if you did 5 minutes before a gynecological appointment, And you went, I've got a bit of an itch.
Yeah. You would be the subject of a medical paper that would be published around the world. You would be the miracle woman. Anyway,
the other thing is, that shrimp is now looking like he's going, oh, no. He's going, there's another round coming up because I don't think I've got another jump in me.
It'll take him... Apparently it'll take him 3 hours to get exhausted. Anyway, from shrimp mills to ant mills. What does an ant mill do? Have you heard of an ant mill? Can you imagine an ant mill?
Ground ants.
Ground ants.
Delicious,
sir. We'd like some ground ants.
bread?
They don't make bread, no. No, what happens is occasionally they lose the pheromone trail that the leaders of the foragers have, and they start following each other in a circle, and the circle just goes round and round and round and round until they die. They just get completely stuck in a loop.
Like an ultimate conga?
Yes. There was one observed in the 1920s. It was 1,200 feet in circumference. It took 2.5 hours for the ant to complete a whole circuit, and they were just going round and round and round, and they just follow the one in front.
Like dads at a wedding.
Yes.
So if one of them was a bit down and wanted to take some others with it.
Yes. It could lead them on a false trail. Absolutely. Wouldn't that be beastly of it?
I've got a rule, like, if it comes in my house, then I'm allowed to kill it.
Right.
Trespassing.
So how many Jehovah's Witnesses have you got?
Yeah.
But if it's
laughing, but...
Under the floorboards, yes.
But if it's outside, then I have to leave it alone, because technically I'm in its house.
That's a rather sweet way of looking at it. Anyway, ants in an ant mill follow each other around in a circle until they die. And why shouldn't you breathe... Or, excuse me, what shouldn't you breathe in? What shouldn't you breathe in if you're a stink ant?
Well, is it your own?
Your friend's anus.
I think that's a general rule. I don't
You don't have to be a stink ant. It's a really weird life cycle, this. It's a really creepy and unpleasant life cycle that the stink ant is a victim of. It spends its life in the rainforests of Cameroon, foraging on the ground, you know, eating bits of leaf mould and generally having a perfectly reasonable life. And way up in the canopy somewhere is this spore. And occasionally, a fungus. And millions of these things drop down. And if the ant breathes it in, it eats the ant from inside, and it starts with the brain, and it sends the ant a bit mad. And it does something that the ant would never otherwise do. It makes the ant climb the tree. So the ant climbs the tree until it gets to a certain height, and it's kind of programmed its brain. It sounds insane. The ant then puts its mandibles into the tree and waits to die, and then the spore keeps growing and growing, and it pushes a shoot out of what was once the brain of this poor ant. It's eaten all its other soft parts, and this great shoot comes out, which produces more spore that drops down and drags up more ants. And we've got a picture, just in case you don't believe me, of a poor ant.
You've done a picture of this happening.
This is a real thing. This is the ant itself. They're climbing up, looking a bit unfortunate, but you'll be able to see. This is it here. It's being eaten from the inside, and there is the spore growing out of what was once its brain, and you can see the rest of its body has been eaten. And that is... and there's that spore growing out, and then it eventually stops and starts, the whole thing starts again. What a weird and cruel thing, isn't it? Isn't that amazing?
Sad.
It's like when people say there must be a God because of skylarks and waterfalls. You say, yeah, and because of that. It's called the cordyceps, is the name of this particular fungus. And that's its life cycle, is basically to rain down onto the forest floor, get breathed in by an ant, make the ant go crazy, climb a tree, and complete the cycle.
Human name, Special Brew. that is a good visual representation of what the hangover's like off it. Oh, what am I doing up a tree? Oh, my head feels like I'm growing spores.
Imagine if it happened to people.
Oh, my God.
To see someone up and say, oh, no, he's going up a tree.
And all the soft tissues get eaten. As you can see, it's not just the brain, it's all the bits lower down, all the soft tissues.
You just have to let them go.
I'd be really gutted if I breathed it in.
Yeah.
Didn't really climb the tree, fell off and just ended up with a bump. Because there wasn't enough material to fill. You know, you just wake up and you go, what's that? And you go, oh, nothing.
There's plenty in there, but... And so, to the inevitable backbone of QI, general ignorance. So fingers on buzzers, if you please.
Right.
Name a vertebrate with no backbone.
Nick Clegg.
A popular answer.
Vertebrate without a backbone.
A vertebrate without a backbone. It seems an impossibility, but there is something that is classified as a vertebrate that has no backbone.
Worms.
No big...
Like a whale or something?
Well, it's not a mammal. It is a fish, though. Big fish.
Eel.
Dolphin?
A dolphin isn't really a fish, to be honest, is it?
Well, it looks like one.
It looks like one, I agree.
Stingray.
Well, stingrays and mantises actually don't have them, but it's the shark. Sharks are vertebrates. They're classified as vertebrates. They neither have rib cages nor do they have backbones. They have things that look very like a backbone, but they're half the weight of bone. They're cartilaginous matter with connective tissue. And there you can see a little cross-section of a shark.
He doesn't look very happy, does he?
No, it's a very cross-section.
You see the thing there, sort of right behind his eye? Just right behind his eye, going all the way back to his tail, along his back, that looks like a bone.
Yeah, that's
I'm just saying.
Yeah, I know it's not bone, though. It is, as I say, it's not actual bone. It's cartilaginous matter. Cartilage, as we would say in England. But anyway, that's all I have to say on that subject. So, there we are.
Well, fine.
Next one.
Let that be an end to it.
Yes. What's the strongest creature for its weight in the world?
Is it Johnny?
Jeff Capes.
Jeff Capes. Good. There is a stronger man than Jeff Capes in the world at the moment. Zydrunas zaviscus, who
Can he pull a lorry along with his...
a 70-ton plane, but that's only 411 times his own weight, and obviously has to have wheels, whereas this creature can pull a force equal to 100,000 times its body weight. When I say creature, I mean it is a living thing, but it's not even an insect. It's even
Not
tiny.
going to be our old friend bacterium.
It's a
again.
bacterium. It's a bug in that sense, yeah. And it's not one you want to catch. Let's be honest. It's one that would be most unwelcome in the trouser department.
Crab.
No. So it's an actual bacterium, not an insect.
The gonorrhea.
Gonorrhea is the right answer. For some
Strongest
reason,
thing in the world.
Yeah, the gonorrhea.
Pulls down your pants and...
That's your excuse for catching
Seriously,
it.
love, I didn't stand a chance.
It's strictly fair. Look at how strong they are.
Apparently, they have these bundles of long, thin, contractile filaments called pilae, and
Where's all that toast on us?
And they use these to crawl, and they can pull along 100,000 times their weight, which is a very small weight, admittedly, but nonetheless, there used to be an awful... Do you know what a cure for gonorrhea used to be? Yeah. They put a sort of umbrella up the urethra, press a button to sort of open the umbrella bit inside the shaft of the penis,
No one
and then
needs to
pull
hear it.
out.
We've heard it. We don't need to hear
I'd
it.
like to hear it. Tell us again.
You can only do it if they're in your house.
And if you had a particularly unsympathetic doctor, he'd then jump around the room going, I'm sick! I'm sick!
Yes. So,
And then they would
And he'd
cover...
splash in your own tears.
yeah.
And then cover it in chocolate and sell it as ants.
Oh, dear me. Yeah, that's enough of gonorrhea, I feel. What do oyster catchers mainly eat? Yes?
Oysters?
They're just misnamed oyster
What
catchers.
do they
It's not
catch?
their main diet.
Other shells?
Yes, cockles and mussels mostly.
Are they just not very good at catching the oysters?
They just love a cockle.
Are they mainly cockneys?
No, a huge percentage of European ones actually are in Britain. And the amount they catch, it's astonishing. Each oyster catcher can get 500 cockles a day, and given that half of the European population is in Britain, it's more than 300,000 birds, that's a potential seasonal consumption of 8.9 million tonnes of cockles.
I love a cockle.
Oh, I love cockle. Oh, in vinegar, just
With a little stick.
Pint of them, yep, that's it. Gorgeous.
From a man in a little mobile kiosk.
A little hint of grittiness sometimes.
A little bit of vinegar.
Yeah. Anyway, which animal has the most genes?
There's Lynham. Jeremy Clarkson. He's
Jeremy
got
Clarkson. That's unfortunate.
It's to do with the age, it's not to do with the complexity.
Yes, it may be
Jeremy Clarkson.
Because some plant has got loads more genes than us.
Yes, there are quite a few things that have a lot more genes than us. The fruit fly has many more genes than we do. But this is actually just a little water flea.
And don't they think that's because of the age, that it's just been around for so long, it's mutated all these different times?
Yeah, 8,000 more genes than the human genome. It's quite a lot. And it doesn't do much. It lies around.
It
Very
carries its own umbrella.
It carries its own umbrella. And it's a very important part of the food chain in water. It's eaten by fish. And...
You can imagine a fish going, you can taste those extra genes.
Yes. Now, why are moths attracted to light? Oh, Alan, well done. You're good at this. Very good.
Well, I just feel that it would have come up. Someone
Yes.
would have told me.
Yes, you're right. The fact, there are various theories. One is that they're used to the moon and that other sources of light disorient it, and they use the moon for navigation, and there are all kinds of...
It does seem odd that they only come out at night, because, I mean, if they saw the sun, they would love it.
Yes, you do.
They get up in the morning, they go, look at that, it's the best thing. Because the amount they like my bedside lamp.
Exactly.
I mean, they love my bedside lamp, but the
maybe
sun
that's
is
why they-
significantly bigger than my bedside lamp.
Maybe
Twice the
that's why
sun.
they don't, though, because if they went for the sun, I mean, they would all just go for the sun, wouldn't they? And then they would just fly into the atmosphere and that would be a disaster.
Yes, some people believe that different sources of light confuse their navigation system, and others think that the moth may think the light is the moon. Others think the moths are attracted to the light because the infrared spectrum in things like candles may contain a few of the same frequencies of light that are given off by a female moth's pheromones. But they're all theories. The fact is, nobody really knows.
I like their ambition. I like to think that they think it's the moon and they go, I can make it.
Yeah?
I can bloody do that. Look at these. Come on.
If you try and catch one, you know, if you're trying to kill it, like I do, because it's in the house.
If it's in the house, yeah.
And then you turn the light off, I always feel really guilty, because it's as if they go,
Yeah. So, nobody knows. And that mystery of what nobody knows brings us to the eternal mystery of the scores and how fascinating they are. In a resolute last place with -24 is Mr. Jimmy Carr. Almost teetering on the brink of plusness is Alan with -1. And Sarah Millican's first performance has been astonishing with +2. But tonight's winner with +4 is Johnny Vega! So, that's all from Jimmy, Johnny, Sarah, Alan and me, apart from this final word from Bill Vaughan. We hope that when the insects do take over the world, they will remember with gratitude how we took them along on our picnics. Good night.
And QI is back here on BBC HD on Friday night at 10. And there's